Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. And today we're going to discuss, when do you show underperformers the door? So one of the toughest things that managers have to do is let people go. This is one of the most stressful parts about being in a management position, because you want to make sure you're making the right decision. So I'm going to share with you 7 situations where it might be time for you to consider letting someone go. No. 1. They don't care. So if an employee doesn't care about their job, they don't care about the team, they don't care about the organization, then it's probably time for you to consider showing them the door. A great book on performance management talks about employees falling into 3 different categories: those who are doing well, those who are doing okay, and those who need to be let go. And if you look at this graph, you can see that those who are doing okay tend to move over to those who are not doing well. So those who are doing okay may start to fall into the category of those who don't care. How do you know if someone doesn't care? Well, first off, their performance will decline, and so will their productivity. But more importantly, their attitude will change, and their behavior will change as well. So they might become negative, or they might start calling out more often. They just really don't seem to care about what's happening within the team or the organization. If this is someone who used to be a top performer, or someone who used to be motivated, and now they just seem unmotivated and they don't care, then it's probably time for you to have a conversation and find out what's going on, and ultimately decide whether or not they should remain with the organization. Number 2, when they won't change. So this goes back to the idea of someone who has been counseled before, but still isn't changing their behavior. Maybe they were given a performance improvement plan, and even after that, they're still not improving. The key here is giving someone multiple opportunities to improve, providing them with the feedback they need, coaching them through some of the issues they might have, and ensuring that they understand what they need to do in order to get back on track. If you've done all of that and they still refuse to change, then it may be time for you to consider letting them go. Number 3, when they're disruptive. So this could be someone who is constantly coming in late, leaving early, talking on their phone, playing games on their phone, or just causing chaos within the workplace. They could be engaging in gossip or drama, or just creating a toxic environment. And I want to pause here for a second and say that sometimes employees behave badly because they are unhappy. And so before you jump to the conclusion that you have to let them go, I would encourage you to try and find out why they're behaving this way. Is there something going on at home? Is there something going on at work? Are they just bored? Have they always been this way? Try and find out what the root cause of the problem is. But at the same time, don't tolerate bad behavior. Make it clear that this behavior is not acceptable. And if it continues, then it's probably time for you to consider letting them go. Number 4, when they're lazy. So how do you know if someone's lazy? Well, again, their performance will decline. They'll probably miss deadlines. They'll probably be less engaged in meetings. And they may not take initiative on projects or assignments. And sometimes you can tell someone's lazy by looking at their workspace. Maybe their desk is messy. Maybe they don't have their files organized. Look, I'm not suggesting that you go around and start cleaning up people's desks, but oftentimes their workspace is a reflection of how they work. So if their workspace is disorganized, chances are they're disorganized and lazy. Number 5, when they're constantly late. So someone who is constantly late is not only showing a lack of respect for you, but also for the organization. They're also setting a bad example for others. So if someone is constantly late, it's probably time for you to have a conversation and find out what's going on. Is this a pattern? Is this a trend? Or is this just something that happened once? And if it's a pattern or a trend, then you need to address it immediately. You need to let them know that this is unacceptable, and if it continues, then you're going to have to let them go. Number 6. When they spread negativity. So this could be someone who is constantly complaining, gossiping, or just bringing a bad attitude to work. They could be someone who is constantly negative, and no matter what you do, no matter what you say, they just don't seem to be able to see the positive. And the challenge with this is that negativity can spread like wildfire. It can affect other employees, and it can really bring down the morale of a team. So if you have someone who is constantly spreading negativity, it's probably time for you to have a conversation and find out what's going on. Again, try to determine if this is a pattern or a trend. Is this something that's been going on for a while? Or is this something that just started recently? What's the root cause of the problem? Try to determine that. But at the same time, don't tolerate this behavior. Let the person know that this is not acceptable. And if it continues, then it's probably time for you to consider letting them go. And number 7, when they refuse to learn. So organizations change, and employees need to change with them. They need to learn new skills. They need to stay up to date with industry trends and best practices. And they need to be willing to grow and develop professionally. So when someone refuses to learn, it's probably time for you to consider letting them go. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, if someone is in a role that doesn't require them to learn, or if they are unable to learn due to a disability or other personal issue, then it may not be fair to let them go. But for the most part, if someone is refusing to learn, it's probably time for you to consider letting them go. Now, I want to pause here for a second and say that letting someone go is never easy. It's tough, it's difficult, and I want to make sure that you don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should just go around and start firing people left and right. What I am saying is that there are certain behaviors and traits that you should look out for. And if you see these in an employee, then it may be time for you to consider letting them go. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to let someone go is up to you as the manager. You need to weigh the pros and cons and decide what's best for your team and the organization. But hopefully this video gives you some food for thought. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you check out future videos.